Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. If you want to be a part of this tech conversation, then you must find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za on email. You can also hashtag SABC Network. Here's what's coming up in the program. We have some of the big winners from the MTN App of the Year Awards. There are details about the seeds of the Future initiative that's sending 10 students to China. Now, West African countries have decided to get rid of roaming charges when making calls. Tech journalist Kyle Ventus is here for that one. Hello, Kyle.
Hi, Spumelele.
Now, is this a good initiative?
It's a great initiative because, a lot more people are traveling now and people need to stay connected all the time.
All right, we're going to have more later in the program, but first, let's start with your technology and social media news. MTN held its 6th Annual Business App Awards on Thursday. A recognition award for women in STEM solutions was added on this year's categories.
MTN had guests entertained at this year's leg of the Business App Awards. Now in its 6th year, the award added a new category to honor women.
This year, what is very exciting for me, last year we had 6 categories. We've now increased it to 12 categories. And one of the categories that I'm really passionate about is the best women in STEM. So for science, technology, engineering and maths. So we're really encouraging women in that field to come up with applications that are relevant to that sector.
The recognition award for women in STEM solutions went to Oru, a social media platform for businesses.
What we're doing at Oru, we're driving it mostly for businesses and social things because social networks are actually killing economy because people are busy socializing forever. But now we're driving Oru so that people can learn social networking for business. So what Oru does, it's got so many functions that are so favorable for businesses. You can actually hold meetings on Oru. You can do presentations. You can do a lot of things. You can also create your pages for your companies. You can advertise your business as well.
Other winners at the awards were Order In, a delivery service app.
And the winner is Order In.
Order In is a premier food delivery service, and obviously we all know that there are a couple of guys in the industry. However, when it comes to differentiating and when it comes to the value proposition that we bring to the table, I think it's evident in the fact that this is in our hands, you know what I mean? It's a proudly South African product. It solves a problem. It's, for all of us that don't have enough time to get out of the office and go and queue in a restaurant and buy food. It's for those of us that are sitting at home, in our bed or in our couch, about to binge on series and need to order food very quickly.
And EcoSlips, which snatched the Best Incubated Solutions app.
What EcoSlips does, it's an application that converts your paper slips into digital EcoSlips that can be sent to people's cell phones so that they don't have to go around whenever they buy something, get all these papers, that get lost sometimes, they fade over time and so on. All your information is now saved in the cloud, and when you have to submit it for tax claims and for medical claims and so on, they can just download it.
The 6th Annual MTN Business App Awards took place on Thursday, October 12th in the north of Johannesburg.
School kids in different parts of the country have been creating their own robots thanks to a partnership between DigiCate and General Electric. Imagine that you're a child in school and you get to create robots. No, not the machines that you see destroying cities in old movies, but small machines that become toy cars and move. That's a reality for many children, thanks to General Electric. This is an introduction to the robotics program.
Today is the grand finale of a mechatronics program that we've been running around Africa. GE Africa partnered with I2M to reach out to about 600 students from 5 provinces around South Africa, really to give them a chance to build out some robots, come and compete with them, and then see who wins. The objective is obviously not the competition in robots, but it's really to expose young children's minds to the world of technology, of innovation, and really where the world is going. 80% of those that we've been dealing with are girls, which is a special focus for us at the company because, quite honestly, in the world we're outbalanced in terms of females in the technology space, and we'd like to help support changing that.
Their partnership with Digicate is planning to reach 30 schools in South Africa. Each of the schools involved receives learning material and resources to teach young learners about robotics and electronics.
We're actually at the African Innovation Center at the grand finale of the Intro to Mechatronics powered by GE Africa. So we actually have 2 indoor tracks that's been built for children to learn a little bit about programming, as well as taking their rovers that they've created with recyclable material, as well as the programming unit and the chipsets, and they sort of like learning about robotics.
Now the participating schools have submitted the little robots they've created. If they win in the competition, then they receive a 3D printer for the school.
The kits themselves were actually developed specially for this program. We partnered with MakerBot, with Ryonics, with a couple of others to really just develop something that you didn't need any extra stuff to make it work. Essentially, the technology was consistent across the different schools and students. Now, what they could do is they could bring in their own additional components to try to make it work better or function. Just personalize it, because we're encouraging also the innovation around personalizing it. So when you look at the entrants that we've seen over the past few weeks, when you look at the races today and the grand finale, you'll see all sorts of things, but the base technology is still all the same across the board.
And the judging session took place at the GE Africa Innovation Center in Johannesburg.
Huawei's Seeds for the Future initiative is taking 10 university students to China. They will receive new ICT training at the company's headquarters in Shenzhen.
10 IT students from various universities are off to China to receive intensive training.
I would like to learn more about innovation, ICT, and when I come back in South Africa, I will want to use whatever knowledge I have learned to innovate and improve the problems of ICT in South Africa.
In this opportunity, I'm hoping to learn everything that they're going to be teaching or offering. Okay, so when I come back here in Zanzibar, I show what my peoples what others are doing out there.
I would like to learn everything that has got to do either with communication networks and the culture of China. And then when I come back to South Africa, I would like to implement everything that I've learned in the experience.
This is with the assistance of a Chinese tech giant Huawei, which is sponsoring the program with the help of South Africa's Department of Telecommunications. The Chinese ambassador challenges Chinese companies here to do more to empower young South Africans with new skills.
They have to make good use of their ICT to, for example, to connect with the 9 provinces. They have their branch office. We can sue the internet to share the teaching material or the training program. Also, they agree with me. They like to expand such as services to do something more, to benefit more, to make sure the promising young girl and boy can benefit from this training program or benefit from this investment.
The South African government wants these students to help the country play a big role in the 4th Industrial Revolution.
They'll be exposed to the new generation technologies. They'll be able to come back to South Africa and help us to build these networks which we want to build for the future. They'll be able to help us with our factories for the future, which is going to need all these new technologies. But as you know, the majority of South Africans, they are not online because they don't have skills. We need low-end skills, basic skills for Umagogo to just know how to access government services and other services, but we also need high-end skills so that we can be globally competitive.
Other students have gone on the same program in the past. Organizers say all the students they've trained previously found employment with ease upon their return to South Africa.
After the break, we'll chat about roaming charges. Kyle Ventus is in studio for that one. Stay with us.
Oops. You wouldn't get root canal from someone who's never done dentistry. So do your business banking with the bank that was born out of business. Bidvest Bank. Let's get it done.
Now, it is the SABC Network. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za and email. Welcome back. Now, the Economic Community of West African States, known as ECOWAS, has decided to get rid of roaming charges in the region. If one is traveling from one West African country to another and using a West African SIM card, they will now not be charged extra for the phone calls. But leaders in the region say they first have to draw up a roadmap that will make this possible. They say it is in the effort to establish a single digital market in the region. Now, joining me in studio to analyze this move is technology journalist Kyle Ventus. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity.
Now, Kyle, how possible is this? Is it to get rid of roaming charges?
Look, I mean, it's an ongoing trend now, and if you're looking at globalization, we're seeing now that people need to be connected. More and more people are getting connected. People are traveling, and they just need to stay connected, whether it's with family or whether it's for work purposes. It's now essential for people to be able to communicate with one another at all times. So a move like this, it's quite critical. And if you're looking basically at what is going on with other telcos and networks around the world, roaming charges are being decreased everywhere. Recently we heard about Cell C dropping their roaming charges across numerous countries around the world, and this is extending to, I think it was around about 99 networks.
But then, Kyle, people have other ways to communicate nowadays. Should those not be taking precedent, for example, over the cost to make a phone call?
This is the opposing argument, because with the infrastructure that's being put in place now, we see a lot more development happening across Africa and in the ICT industry, and now more networks are putting in more infrastructure to handle data connections. And we all now know how easy it is for one to make a call off, let's say, WhatsApp or Facebook, which is now essentially using data as opposed to traditional methods or over network. So there is this opportunity here for us to consider maybe roaming might not be a very long-term solution to the
network
problem.
providers losing anything if people decide that they are, or if governments rather decide that they are going to get rid of roaming charges?
Look, I don't think it's a case of them losing anything, because if you've looked across, using South African telcos as a case study, we have already seen the decline in the use of traditional calls and SMSs, for example, and the increase in data usage, which basically is going up exponentially across all networks. So there's clearly a lot of opportunity for telcos to be making their profit from the loss, or rather making their profit from data charges, as opposed to losing out because no one is using traditional forms of communication.
Let's think about the case for South Africa, for example. People have already been complaining about high data costs and costs to communicate in general. Is this then not going to make telcos want to, or rather telecoms providers want to keep data prices high, because now governments are saying, well, get rid of roaming costs?
Look, we saw ICASA step in quite recently, and we are now witnessing data falling, something we've asked for such a long time.
It's still quite high in South Africa.
It is very high. But the key factor that we've seen take place, the key issue that's being tackled now, is the out of bundle data charges are actually dropping, which we have been asking for from the telcos for a very long time. See, now what's left is for networks to now get innovative in their offerings towards customers, whether that be through bundling their data in different ways or coming up with content. We see numerous networks in South Africa producing video content, producing apps for their customers to be using in order to also, recover.
The argument you're raising now is an argument that had been raised by MTN in the past when they complained about over-the-top services, saying that over-the-top services are cutting into their bottom line because people are no longer making phone calls. They are now Skyping each other. They are now using various video calling methods, or they're texting each other.
And so this is the exact opposing argument we're looking at here when we talk about roaming as well. It's voice over IP has been around for a really long time. We've been using Skype for years. Now networks have
but a lot of people haven't been using Skype.
No,
for years.
Of course. But now you can see this kind of technology is more accessible to people across the spectrum. Whether you have a very basic smartphone or a high-end smartphone, you can make use of these kinds of features. You're able to do this, and it costs you so much less than it would if you had to make use of traditional forms of communication.
Are we likely now to see other regions, especially in Africa, following suit to what the West African countries have done?
Well, I mean, look at Cell C for an example. We just saw that roaming rates have been dropped across so many countries around the world. This is definitely something that we're going to see more of happening, especially in Africa, because we're a developing nation that doesn't have all of the infrastructure as yet to handle voice over IP. But I definitely think we're heading towards a direction where...
Kyle, a lot of these network providers work in different regions in Africa. For example, Vodacom is found in Tanzania, it's found in other countries. MTN is found in South Africa, they are found in Nigeria too. Why are rules different when it comes to different parts of the continent?
Look, it's purely because of the different regulations in each country. It's hard to exactly pinpoint why this is taking place, because you've got various economies at play here.
Why data is cheap, for example, in Nigeria, whereas it's expensive in South Africa on the same network?
Look, of course, it's a completely different market. It's a completely different economic environment. So you can't say that MTN here has to have data the same price that it does in another part of Africa. It's not. It's comparing apples and bananas, if I could even say that.
Well, it depends on whether people have a lot of smartphones or not. And if they don't have a lot of smartphones, maybe create incentives for them to get smartphones. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Kyle Venters.
Thank you.
Right, Kyle Venters, there is a technology journalist who covers these issues pretty much on a daily basis. Now, we caught up with comedian Robbie Collins, and he told us what his favorite piece of technology is.
Hi, my name is Robbie Collins. I'm a comedian, and my favorite piece of technology is definitely my iPhone. Why? Because I can send nudes.
entrepreneurship and taking charge of your own destiny is a mindset, and it's something that should start at a very young age.
I started when I was around about 3 or something, because I have a bunch of paintings in the office. I have a teacher that teaches me and my class how to do business, and he was the one who taught me.
Being an entrepreneur makes you money-wise.
Before everyone spent their money, I would sell the little things I painted, and I'd sell my drawings and stuff like that.
In business, it is important to keep record of all your transactions.
I have a passion and I love making anything, so I chose to make Play-Doh and I'm passionate about it.
Catch Bupilong every Friday at 17:30.
Why is there a dispute over who is the rightful heir to the throne?
What I can say is that Masindi is a woman. She's a girl. She's a girl child. Because I think that if she was a male, there's no way that anybody was going to dispute the fact that she is the rightful heir.
Do you recognize her as your rightful heir?
Yeah, no, I will definitely say that she is my daughter. She grew up there.
What is the intention?
I want my throne.
Join me in Port Zedu live every Monday to Thursday at 17:30.
SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, China plans to have a NASA-like center, and Dubai unveils the world's first smart police station. These are some of the stories that made headlines in the rest of the world.
3, 2, 1. Mark.
NASA launched a 58-foot-tall sounding rocket carrying an Aspire payload on Wednesday. According to NASA, the launch that carries the Advanced Supersonic Parachute Inflation Research Experiment, Aspire, will evaluate the performance of the Aspire payload that is designed to test parachute systems in low-density environments. Staying with all things NASA, China's Alibaba holding group on Wednesday promised to invest up to 100 billion yuan, that is $15 billion, into technological research and development for the next 3 years. The promise was made while launching a Dharma Academy as the group's R&D entity aimed for its own NASA-like science and technology development action plan. 3 Chinese and 5 American academics on its 10-member council, the Dharma Academy will focus on quantum computing, machine learning, basic algorithms, cybersecurity, human-computing interaction, Internet of Things, Internet of Intelligences, and biometric identification. The world's first quantum computing cloud will offer its online access by the end of this year.
Once online, scientists from across the world can use our computer for scientific research projects. Even interested secondary school students can use it to do interesting things, and even serious studies.
Over 450 enterprises are demonstrating their scientific and technological products on the sidelines of the ongoing conference. Still in China, the country has been experiencing a boom of scientific innovation in every industry in the past 5 years, with new driving force for economy starting to unleash energy.
Major breakthroughs have been made in scientific innovation. The expenditure on research and development in 2016 was 1.57 trillion yuan and equals to 2.11% of the total GDP.
The research and development expenditure in 2016 increased by 52.2% from that of 2012. A series of leading scientific programs gained fruitful results, including the quantum communication, high-speed railways, manned space programs, and lunar exploration programs. While the new economic driving force growing up and becoming stronger, the upgrading pace of traditional industries are also accelerating. Moving to Dubai, the world's first smart police station will now provide around-the-clock services to the public without police officers on site. The police station is divided into 3 areas: a waiting area, exhibition area, and service area. After arriving at the smart police station, local residents draw a number so their business is handled orderly. In the waiting area, residents can play a safety driving game to kill time. Next to the educational game is the service area. Currently, 2 officers are dispatched to assist people at the smart police station. According to the plan, though, it will be in operation independently without officers on site in the near future.
هو الهدف من مركز الشرطة الذكي.
Establishing a smart police station accelerates the service process of the government and police station, improves efficiency, makes things more convenient for the people coming here, and saves them time.
المتعاملين واختصار الوقت.
The Dubai Police plans to establish a smart police station in each residence and commercial district to save people time and to make accessing the police more convenient.
I want a robot that's going to deliver coffee to my bed. Now, this week, our Twitter poll has been asking how often you make phone calls. 20% of respondents say they make phone calls at least once a day. There are 21% of respondents who say once in a while. In second place are 22% of respondents who say not that much. The majority of people say a lot. That figure is at 37%. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za and email. We play out with an array of kites from the Kite Festival in Taiwan, including the newly showcased LED Dragon Kite. From me and the rest of the network team, have a good one. Bye-bye.